What's going on, people? Today I'm going to be talking about It Chapter 2 on Blu-ray and 4K. And if you didn't check out my movie review when I saw this in theaters, you can check that out right up here. And if you like that video and if you like this video, make sure you subscribe right down here. And without any other further ado, let's get straight into the video quality of the Blu-ray here. Now, this movie was shot all digitally, and it is worth noting that it was not shot with the same cinematographer as It Chapter 1. That is disappointing. I loved how that movie looked. And, besides some really bad CGI moments, I do kind of like how this looked. I would just have preferred if that cinematographer would have came back for this movie. But with that being said, this movie does look good. You can see every individual line on every character in this film. There are very, very few softer scenes. Black levels are excellent, and detail here is absolutely really spectacular. I noticed this time a lot of even more detail when it came to when you actually saw Pennywise himself in this film. I feel like there is even more detail here than there was in the first It film when it was on Blu-ray, especially in the scene that you can see in the trailer where Skarsgård washes the paint off of his face or peels it off of his face. You can see it in the trailer. That scene had so much detail to it. It was insane. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I feel like this is very, very good stuff. And getting into the 4K copy here, this was actually given a 2K digital intermediate. So this is actually an upscale to 4K. But don't worry about it, people, because they gave us Dolby Vision support here. And that is the same thing that the first It film got in 4K. So it makes sense to bring that here. This movie steps it up for the 4K transfer in all the right ways. I talked about the detail in Skarsgård's It in the Blu-ray. It's even more stepped up here. You can see all the pores on his face, and you can see where the paint is literally cracking on him. It is tremendous. Along with that, there is a lot more detail when you're talking about close-ups, facial features. And then when you get into the clarity, this is really damn good. I would say that it is razor sharp, especially in the flashback scenes. Those are actually some of the best looking scenes in this film. They have a lot of rich color to them, and those are the ones, as far as clarity goes, that really stick out. But the HDR and the Dolby Vision here is where this truly does shine. I would say that color saturation is excellent here. It is very saturated. It is just a very, very cool look where colors definitely just pop off of the screen, and you really get the real reds and the deeper colors that are in this film, and that is excellent. Black levels are great. And as far as Dolby Vision goes, I would say that that actually helps out with the black levels as far as looking deeper into them, and that is awesome. And I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I feel like this is something that is really damn good. I wouldn't say that this is as good as the first one. I would just temper it down just a little bit. And getting into the audio quality here, so this was actually given a Dolby Atmos mix. Whether you watch this on Blu-ray or 4K, which is always awesome. I do like the fact that Warner Brothers does this for their releases. And you know what? This sounds great. Bass response is just very dynamic and has multiple levels. And you can hear that from the very first scene where the two kids are getting beat up at the carnival. And you definitely hear the bass thumping while they're getting beaten up. And then when you get to the climax of that, that's where the bass hits the hardest. And you can definitely hear the multiple levels of that. Speaker separation is also excellent and very effective during creepier scenes in the film. And surrounds are heavily used, which is just always awesome for me. Height speaker work is limited to what I would say is the score of the film, and at the end, during the end battle. I do feel like it kind of kicks in at that point. But other than that, I don't feel like there are a lot of moments for hide speaker work with this movie. And with that being said, I'm going to give this another 9 out of 10 for this sound mix. And as for the digital copy here, this is Movies Anywhere digital copy, which means that you can download this on Vudu and on iTunes and get the 4K version. And getting into the special features here, first off, you do on the 4K disc get the commentary with Machete here. That is our director, and he does a pretty decent commentary track. That is on the Blu-ray and the 4K disc. All of the other special features are actually put on a separate Blu-ray disc, and you get a decent amount there. You get a half an hour making of doc. Then you get a couple of 5 to 15 minute featurettes that go into such things as the set design and a lot of coming back as the kids were getting older, and that whole decision that was made because the book was not cut this way. It actually intertwined the adult life with the child's life, and these movies really, well, It Chapter 2 does it, but Chapter 1 does not. And with that being said, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I feel like this is pretty good. And as for my last looks at It Chapter 2, look, this movie was not going to be as good as the first It film was. And that is because the end of It, the book, is not really that good. And this movie really isn't that good. It just doesn't have the focus, and it goes on weird tangents, and it feels a lot more disjointed. If they wanted to do this movie right, they would have had to throw away a lot of what was in the book, and they did not. And that is why I gave this a 6 out of 10 when it was out in theaters. And when you add up all my scores for It Chapter 2 on Blu-ray and 4K, you get the same grade of a 30 out of 40. That is largely because of the fact that the video and the audio quality here are pretty damn good. And if you like the movie, then you would like these discs. So, coming up next on the channel, if you look over my shoulder right here, you will see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that is what's coming up next. And after that, I do have Rambo coming to me as well. If you guys are excited about all of that, make sure you comment down below. Let me know if you actually saw this release and what you thought about it and what you thought about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. You guys are awesome. I don't even say it because you know it. And I will see all of you next time.